What's got 4 wheels, 4 cylinders, 4 doors, and makes a hell of a rumble? The rally car built for the street car built for the WRC. And no, we're not talking about Evo because, well, let's be honest. Mitsu gave up, so there stands only one. That's right, baby. We're talking about the WRX. And there hasn't been just 1, 2, 3, but 4 generations. So, which one is the best? I'm Brad Danger, and I'm about to tell you, boo. So snag the e-brake, smash the like button, and also subscribe if you're new here, and let's jump right into what the best WRX is that you can buy. Let's go. What's right-hand drive, old enough to be imported, and the first of its kind? The first generation WRX is that and so much more, so buckle up. From the get-go in 1992, Subaru's first WRX was packing some heat. It was packed full of rally racing inspired technology, and with that trusty dusty all-wheel drive, it comes alive when things get wet. Featuring an early EJ20 engine producing 237 horsepower, these early 90s WRXs still go from nada to 60 in 5.0 seconds. For you Evo fans out there, that's half a second quicker than this car, an 05 Evo 9. Not bad for Subi's first gen. And first try. And not only is that 2-liter boxer turbo quick, it sounds amazing doing it. Yeah, that sounds amazing, right? And well, there's some good news and there's some bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? Bad news? The first gen WRX never sold in the USA. Why, Subaru, why? The good news, they've had enough birthdays that they're finally old enough to start importing. But more on that in just a minute. Now, this is my personal opinion, but I think that every generation of WRX is a little subdued in the styling department. But lucky for us, tuners never kept them that way, adding wings, wheels, vents, and canards. Your average vape cloud blowing WRX at a car meet has more bolt-ons than an aging movie star. But one car that needs no plastic surgery is the first generation WRX. Right out of the box, the first gen had just enough flair, matched with a subtle but fun sedan body style. And I think that they look perfect as is. I wouldn't change a thing. Well, maybe a couple. No, not a thing. And another thing that's great about WRX and just Subarus in general is that they're really easy to drive. Not only are they confidence inspiring, but if you've never driven a manual transmission before, a cheap WRX might be a great car to learn on. And with just a little bit of practice, I bet you'll be throwing gears like Colin McRae in no time. So that brings us to price. And for first generation WRXs, things get a bit interesting. Since the WRX was never sold in the States, the only way to get one is to import it. And you know what that means, right? Right-hand drive, baby. And if you love WRXs, go check out our limited edition Impressive T. It's one of my absolute favorites. Although importing might drive the cost up a bit, it's actually cheaper than you think. I found this 98 WRX with 66,000 miles for $7,100. And that includes shipping it to the West Coast, which is where I live. So ship it to me and I'll drive it to wherever you are in the US or beyond, but I don't think it floats, so continental US only. But I'll drive it to you. And the way I see it, for less than 10K, you can own a truly special piece of WRX history. But if you don't want to hunt for the elusive first gen, or you just don't want to deal with all the troubles a right-hand drive car brings, like going through drive-thrus, you gotta go backwards. I don't know if you ever thought of that before. Then the second gen hit our shores in 2001, and it's undoubtedly here to stay. You know it, I know it. The second gen WRX is freaking sweet. I mean, this was the WRX's debut in America. And boy, oh boy, did they make a great first impression. Unlike the first impression I made with YouTube girlfriend's parents, but another story for another day. Because with the same reliable all-wheel drive drivetrain and newer EJ motors, it's better than ever before. This gen is where we here in the States got to see this thing shine in all different types of light. There are hatchbacks, which I really like, or sedans, and you could get a manual transmission in either one. And we all know that you're gonna get one with a stick shift, right? Anyways, the second gen WRX underwent a facelift in 2006. And in my opinion, it's the most beautiful Subi ever built, the Hawkeye. Just look at this thing. From its angular headlights to its aggressive hood scoop and the picnic table spoiler. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's also a WRX, which means it's far from just another pretty face. So, just how does the Hawkeye compare to the Bug-Eye in terms of speed? Well, the facelift in 2006, it was a good one because it brought us the EJ25. Pumping out 235 horsepower, this 2.5 liter with the turb ski reaches 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. Yeah, I'm with you. It's a couple tenths of a second slower than the first gen, but at least it looks way better doing it. And if for some reason you want to take it down the quarter mile, expect a roughly 14-second pass. But you know as well as I that WRXs aren't built for straight line speed. I mean, you can modify them to make them extremely fast, but their natural habitat is to crush terrains of all types, sliding sideways, kicking up dirt, and putting a huge smile on your face. Now, one thing you gotta notice when shopping for Gen 2 WRXs is that pretty much all of them have been modified to some degree. We're talking sticker bombed, slammed to the ground, and upgraded engine parts are par for the course. But if you can find a clean second gen, preferably a Hawkeye, you're looking at one hell of a car for roughly 10 grand. Because check this out, this gorgeous blue WRX with just over 100K is selling for 10 grand. And that's a perfect opportunity to flex your ideal car buying skills, which you can learn about more here. Now, if you want the STI model, you're looking at roughly twice that price. And yes, they look a little bit cooler, sound a little bit badder, and carry a little badge of honor that the regular WRX doesn't. But is it a car that's worth twice the price? I don't know. If you absolutely have to have that pink badge, the Hawkeye STI might be my personal favorite Subaru of all time. So the choice is really up to you and your budget. And if you like the long and slightly boxy look of the previous generation WRX, you might want to look away now. It's not that ugly, it's just less beautiful than its predecessor. But looks aside, the third generation is still ridiculously popular, delivering both solid performance and incredible value. And one of the pros of the third gen is it's bigger, and so it lets you carry more junk. It's also safer, so you can make it home, and it's a little more fuel efficient, so you can keep a little more dough in the bank. The way I look at it, the third gen is definitely for customers that needed a little bit more space and a little less race. The EJ25 motor doesn't change very much, still producing the same 235 horses, but now delivering 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. And there's a common theme here. Every generation continues to get slower. And I think that's due to each generation putting on a little bit more weight. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of fast third gen WRXs out there. You just gotta look for them. The aftermarket is huge for these cars. From fast as balls track builds to parking lot queens. Whatever it is, if you got the cash, someone's got that ideal part for your WRX. But if you want to keep it stock, this might be the one for you. Because this 2011 6-speed hatchback is only $13K and it's already got a ski rack. And again, if you want that pink little badge, the STI, pretty much double that number and you can find yourself a really nice example. But if you think you're gonna modify it and you're gonna get a third gen WRX, I'd take a step back and think about getting a second gen STI. In my opinion, they're way better to look at, and that tuned EJ25 makes 300 horsepower stock, with a lot more available with just some simple mods. Yeah, I found a few priced in the high teens, but you can't put a price on happiness. Yeah, there's no way. And while the third gen is a bit heavier, smarter, and more expensive than its younger brothers, it still deserves to wear the World Rally Experimental badge. And that leads us to the fourth gen, the last of its kind. This will be the last WRX that's built upon its own chassis. Let that sink in for a minute. Yeah, going forward with the fifth gen, they're gonna build it on Subaru's global platform. So, what does that mean to me? Well, it means that this is your last chance to get a pure WRX. And to carry on the common theme that we've seen with every newer generation WRX, the fourth gen is larger and heavier than its younger brothers. And as far as the engine goes, this WRX has something a little bit different. It's the first WRX without the EJ series under the hood. Blasphemy? Well, that's for you to decide. Because Subaru's new engine, called the FA20F, produces 18 foot-pounds more of torque at half the RPMs compared to the EJ25. This is done by mounting the turbo further forward and a little bit lower, which lowers the center of gravity. So you get 238 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque at just 2,000 RPMs. And this is also the quickest WRX ever made. With a competent pilot and a 6-speed manual, you're looking at 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. And buyer beware, because you can also find these with an automatic transmission as well as a CVT. But I think what really gets me excited is how quick it is stock. And Subaru didn't stop there. They beefed up the suspension and chassis, making it roughly 50% stiffer than the previous gen. And if you want to talk about grip, well, this thing's got it. 0.8 G's on this skid pad to be exact. And if you want to get to Gen 2 STI numbers, easy peasy. You're only a tune and an exhaust away from 300 horsepower. Now, time for some show and tell. This 2017 is a bit pricey, but it's got such low miles and it's so reliable. And let's face it, you could make worse decisions with 18K, like buy a Gen 2 STI. It's not a bad decision at all. But if you decide to buy the Gen 4, it's your chance to snag the latest and greatest for less than a 2020 Civic. And if you're looking to step up to the plate and you want an STI, well, it's gonna cost you, because the 4th gen STIs are super valuable. You're gonna need at least 30 grand in your pocket to even walk in the door. And well-sorted examples are quite a bit more than that. But the practicality, reliability, and just pure driving bliss these things provide could mean that the juice is worth the squeeze. So now that you've seen every WRX sold in the States and abroad, which one do you like the most? If you prefer more driver involvement with a great soundtrack and aggressive styling, you want either the 1st or the 2nd gen. But if you want more technology and safety features, then the 3rd and 4th gen are the move. No matter which one you choose, they're all fun to drive. And ask any WRX owner and they're probably gonna tell you they love their Subi. And if you ask me, because you did, because you clicked on this video, which gen is my favorite, I'd have to say it's the 2nd, specifically the Hawkeye STI. For $18,000, you get the best looking, the best driving, and the most pure son of a rally car that you can buy from Subaru today. Yeah, to me, I think it's the best bang for buck. And I also don't think that this generation is gonna get any cheaper anytime soon, so right now is a great time to buy. And if you're new here, my name is Brad Danger, and please hit that subscribe button and turn on notification bells. Also, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, and if you dislike the video, really let us know. Don't just hit that button once, hit it twice. Also, check out some of the other Ideal content, and as always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.